My name is Rachel Umazi. I work at the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development as the principal surveyor. So I'll present this on behalf of RCMRD. This is just a presentation to tell you who we are and what we do. So maybe for more information, because of time, I'll leave some links where you can go and check us out. So that will be my outline. I'll look at the overview of RCMRD, and then I'll mention our vision, mission, and core mandate. I'll look at the various projects that we undertake, and then I'll go to the training and capacity building initiatives that we do at the center. And then I'll also talk about the various activities regarding AFREF that we undertake. And then, as I had mentioned, I'll leave some contact details where you can be able to follow us up. So RCMRD is an intergovernmental organization that was established 50 years ago by the United Nations Economic Commission of Africa, together with the African Unity Organization for African Unity, which is now the African Union. And the purpose for its establishment was just to oversee resource allocation and mapping within the various countries. And by that time, most of the countries were gaining independence. And so there was that need for the countries to try and map the resources that were available within them. We are located at Kasarani here in Nairobi, Kenya, which is about 13 kilometers from where we are. If the traffic was off, then it would take around 15 minutes or so to be where we are located. And just to mention that this year we are celebrating our 50th anniversary, and the theme is Advancing Geospatial Excellence for Sustainable Development. So allow me to take this opportunity to welcome you all. On the 16th of June, we shall be having a celebration, and I'll be happy to have you come and join us. So in terms of membership, we go all the way up from Sudan to South Africa. We have the yellow countries that are covered in yellow. Those are our contracting members, and we also have some other countries which are non-contracting, but however, they enjoy services from RCMRD. The vision of the center is to be a premier center of excellence in the provision of geoinformation and allied technologies for sustainable development in our member states and also beyond. So we are covering quite a large stakeholder base. And our mission is to strengthen the member states and our stakeholders' capacity to be able to generate, apply, and also disseminate geoinformation and allied technologies for sustainable development. Our core mandate spans around capacity building, project implementation. We offer advisory services. We also have a servicing and calibration center that is accredited by Leica and Trimble, and also Geomats. So by virtue of that, we service surveying and mapping equipment. We also carry out research, and because we generate a lot of information, when we also have a mandate to make sure that this information is well disseminated to the various stakeholders. Our thematic areas are in agriculture and food security. We also have land use change, land governance, and urban development, and that is where geodesy and surveying are also anchored in that thematic area. We also have a theme on climate change and disaster risk reduction. We also have ecosystem management and natural resource monitoring. And then we have some other cross-cutting initiatives that may span around the various themes that I have already mentioned. Those are some of the key projects that we are currently undertaking. And just to mention that RCMRD does not work in isolation. So we have a number of partners which we normally work with. We leverage partnerships a lot. And so some of the projects, we have the African Agricultural Adaptation Atlas, which is a project in the 47 county governments within Kenya. And basically in that project, we are trying to do a need assessment in terms of capacity and also see which products we can be able to develop in terms of geospatial products, which can be able now to meet the various needs that we have identified in the counties. And in the last 3 weeks, we have been carrying out capacity building to the county government staff just to bring them up to speed on specifically GIS and remote sensing. We also have a regional center of excellence for biodiversity and forestry and seascape project, which now looks at those 3 themes in the various member countries. It's around 24 countries within Eastern and Southern Africa. Then we have the strengthening pastoralist livelihood. Let me use this one here. My eyes are failing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, we have a project on strengthening pastoralist livelihood through effective anticipatory action passage, which we are also looking at the Greater Horn of Africa and mostly mapping invasive species. We have also risk management systems for plants and pests and diseases and so many other projects. A few I have mentioned there. And then in terms of capacity building activities, we have a training school within RCMRD as a department. So we call it the Regional Center Training Institute. And this institute offers various diploma courses in surveying, cartography and GIS, photogrammetry, remote sensing, and also IT. We also have quite a number of technical certificate courses, which I'll not go into them one by one. And so next, I want to move to the capacity building on the professional short courses. We also offer quite a number of short courses that are user specific. So depending on what an organization or individuals may identify a gap, we are able to tailor some specific courses just to meet the needs of our stakeholders. Some of the projects come as components in some of the trainings, come as components in projects, because once you carry out a project, you'd want to transfer the knowledge and also the capacity for the various communities to be able to sustain that particular project after you have exited the site. We also have various conferences and workshops, among them the AFREF and GNSS trainings. I'm happy to report that we'll be having one as we celebrate our 50th anniversary. We want to celebrate our milestones we have made over the time. And so we will be having a course on AFREF just to create awareness and also to build the capacity of our stakeholders. Maybe to mention that this course, there was a comment that it's specific to the member states, but I want to clarify that it's for the member states, we normally sponsor them, but also the course is open to every other person, or of course at a fee. So you may need to sponsor yourself to attend that course. So this year's course will be happening from the 16th to 20th of June this year. That's about a month from now. We also carry out research and development in the technology and methodologies just to support various challenges that Africa or the region is facing. We also have various youth mentorship projects. We also allow students from universities to come and have their mentorship programs and internships and attachments within RCMRD. And we also have a competition that we have named MAP competition, where we allow the various students starting from primary level to be able to showcase what they know about geoinformation. And so it's sort of a competition. It could be for the lower grades. They are able to paint what nature means to them. And for the upper ones, could be story maps and all that. And then at the end of the year, they are being judged and also appraised for the work they have done. Now to the AFREF activities. I've mentioned about the training that we undertake, and those are the dates for the new training, for this year's training. I'm happy to report that RCMRD also runs a network of COS stations. Currently, we are having 3 that are operational, and then 1 is in the process. We are working on it. It has already been installed. We are also developing a cause map for Africa because we realize this information is available, but we cannot be able to say where it is and even map it. And so we have taken that initiative to try and map out. And so we are reaching out to the various countries to be able to submit your information about cause network. I'm sure by now would not be writing down who has what. We'll just be looking at a map and say, these are the stations that we have, and these are their locations. You can be able to access or to provide your information through that link. And the map is also interactive, so you can be able to see how many countries have submitted so far. And just before I joined here, I checked and I saw that only 13 countries have submitted so far. So I call on all of us to take this initiative and try to populate that map so that then we can be able at a glance to know how far we are in terms of cause infrastructure. So that is how the cause metadata submission form looks like. If you go through that link, you'll be able to access it and also follow the steps to be able to just feed in your information. So that will be all. You can reach out to us through those contact details and we'll be happy to help in any way. Thank you very much.
Don't run away just yet. I'll see if we've got one quick question from someone. Hang on. Has anyone got one quick question before we move on? Yes, Levi, thank you.
The registration for cause, is it even private institutions also welcome to register?
We are collecting information on all cause stations that are within Africa. So if they are private cause, you can also provide that information and we'll be glad to have them. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Share the link again in WhatsApp just so people have it.
Right, Ryan's just asking if we'll share that link in the WhatsApp chat as well so that everyone can access it more easily and you'll have the history for it. That'll be great. Thank you very much. Thanks, Rachel. Please join me again in thanking Rachel. And next, I'm happy to invite Professor Lazarus up to give us a talk about the work being done within AfriGIS. Thank you. Let's bring it up for you. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lazarus Mustafa Ojigi, the Executive Director of AfriGIS. The presentation I'm about to make just tell you exactly what AfriGIS is doing. I call AfriGIS Capacity Development Activities. The outline just about AfriGIS, then look at capacity development activities that are ongoing, then the development partners that we have across the globe, and I'll mention a few regional advisory role and support services that we're rendering. Then we have new directive in terms of capacity development agenda, and I'll conclude. Now, AfriGIS, formerly known as RECTAS. AfriGIS is, like I said, yes, on Monday I said is an acronym, African Regional Institute for Geospatial Information Science and Technology. This renaming was done in 2016. It was called RECTAS, that is Regional Center for Training in Aerospace Surveys. That was the name when it was established in 1972, about 3 years before RCMRD was established. So And it was established by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, and specifically to train high manpower, high-level manpower for Africa, for those who are working in government and those who are in the institutions where they can add values to mapping and geodetic activities across the length and breadth of Africa. So AfriGIS was not established to serve West or Central Africa. It was established for the entire African continent. AfriGIS is a bilingual institute. We train personnel both in English and French. So it's an intergovernmental organization with a full diplomatic mission of immunity in Nigeria. So as an executive director, I'm a diplomat, even though I'm in my country. My deputy is a diplomat. My deputy is from Burkina Faso. And the institute is managed by a governing board, a governing council. Currently, we are proposing to have Council of Ministers. In November last year, we had a meeting with the Executive Secretary of ECA, and then we agreed that we are going to introduce a Council of Ministers to the governing council to the governing structure of AfriGIS. So even among us in this room, those who represent their countries are here. So I will mention their name as I go along. The institute is located within the campus of a university, because when it was established, there was a competition between countries in Africa. Nigeria won. And when it came to Nigeria, institutions, universities had to compete. They looked for appropriate venue where to locate this institute. So that was when Obafemi Awolowo University, located in the southwest of Nigeria, won it. And that is where we are located. We are located on a plot of land of the size of 25 hectares. So within the university. So if you pass the university gate, you see how to pass, then you get to our own gate. Our campus, the diplomatic environment. You cannot be arrested in that environment. The current member states of AfriGIS, number one, Nigeria being the host country, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Mali, Benin Republic, Cameroon. So these are and then we have some that are intending to come on board. That is the map. Like I said earlier, it's meant for the whole Africa. So South Africa has indicated interest to join. So from that map, you see the blue are those who are the current. The yellow or the orange, the yellow is those who are prospective members, while the ash are those that are potential, that are still waiting in the car park. So we are expecting all of them, including Kenya, to join AfriGIS. What is the mandate of AfriGIS? To contribute to the rapid and sustainable development of its member state, first of all, then to the entire Africa, by building relevant capacities and timely provision of those capacities so that it can be used for appropriate geospatial information and development in Africa. The objectives, 3 objectives. Number 1 is to provide technical, that is practical and practical training, theoretical and practical training in the following areas: photogrammetry and remote sensing, cartography and geovisualization, geographic information science. The last 2, geodetic science and hydrography and marine science, are those 2 that I joined AfriGIS in 2023. That was when I was hired. And then I came on board with those 2 programs. And the governing council were gracious to us to approve those 2 programs. So as I'm talking to you now, plans are in place for us to implement and start to operate those 2 programs in addition to the 3 existing ones. Also, we conduct seminars and research in various fields, in all aspects of geospatial information science and technology. We also conduct research and carry out studies in areas that are specific to individuals, corporate organizations across Africa. Also provide consultancy services. We've gone to many countries giving them advisory services on how to conduct their mapping. And we also render some consultancy services within the country and outside the country. Now, that is the map. The red is the border of the AfriGIS, of the campus of AfriGIS. Beside us, that is the campus of the university. It's a massive land. That is the largest this university has the second largest landmass in Nigeria. And the portion they gave us is where we are there. Very fine environment. Those who have visited there, is a cool place. You are secured when you come there. That is the physiographic map of the master plan as when we are fully developed. Now we have major strengths. One, AfriGIS is accredited by African and Madagascar Council for Higher Education, what we call CAMES. So they come to AfriGIS because the courses are recognized by them. It's a bilingual institute, and such is not, you can't find any of like AfriGIS elsewhere. If you find elsewhere, it must be only English or only French. But ours is a dual, we are doing dual capacity. Then we have collaborations with universities across Nigeria and outside Nigeria, within Africa and outside Africa. We also participate in global collaborative initiatives and programs, from where a lot of lessons and ideas are acquired, thereby enhancing the capacity of staff and students of the institute. Then Africa-wide program organized by UN-GGCE. And then we have adequate training facilities, and we render SDA country support services, which are not common elsewhere. Having programs that are ranging from different master's level to PhD. So to achieve all these mandates, first of all, we have to have academic and professional postgraduate diploma and master's and PhD programs. We also do short-term training, 6 months, in all aspects of geospatial information science and technology. We have customized courses to meet the specific need of individuals, companies, and organizations, and then render advisory services to countries. I remember I was in one country, and then they had issues with their mapping system, and then we had to advise, and we have visited, we have to ask them to send their staff to AfriGIS for training. All member states, let me say it so that we can take note, all member states are entitled to sending students to the institute free. Every candidate from the member state that comes to this place is free. At the end of every month, they receive stipends. And member states make contribution based on the GDP. So for now, Nigeria is the highest in having the highest GDP among the member states, followed by Ghana. So if other countries are bigger than Nigeria, like South Africa, that I think their GDP is better than Nigeria now, then South Africa will become #1. And the chairmanship of the governing council is rotated every 2 years. So that is how, and remember, the council, they are the one responsible to the appointment of the executive director, deputy executive director, and director of finance and administration. So we have academic programs in French and English, masters, time will not permit me to mention all of them, postgraduate diploma, which we call TD, technical diploma, professional masters. Then there's masters in geoinformation technology, which we are doing in collaboration with Federal University of Technology in Akure, Nigeria. Then specifically, our postgraduate the PhD program is a collaboration between AfriGIS and the University of Abomi Kalave in Benin Republic. That university is #1 university in Benin Republic. So 2 weeks ago, the Vice Chancellor and all his team visited AfriGIS, and they spent about a week with us to discuss the way forward. Currently, we have 8 PhD candidates. I'm currently supervising 2 among those 8 students on that PhD program. And the current admission application that we have, about 20 have been recommended for admission for their PhD. And the kind of PhD we're doing here is not theoretical, they are classical. You must exhibit what you are doing practically. So we try to, the collaboration between, so it's practical and then academic. Then we have, okay, that is the continuation of the program. There are other programs that were proposed, masters. This is just a picture of some of the students that have graduated. And so far, AfriGIS have trained about 3,800 personnel for the whole of Africa from about 28 countries in the past 53 years. I don't know what happens.
Yeah, we're just trying to get him to look at, yeah.
So now the 2 new programs that are coming on board, Geodetic Science, Hydrography, and Marine Science. So those 2 new programs, Because of that, we are collaborating with a university that has a vessel for survey in the Lagoon area, University of Lagos, Nigeria. Because of that, we recently acquired the V200 high target for students to start to do. They're already engaging in practical on a daily basis, both in French and English. Every Friday is dedicated for practical for masters and PhD students. And you can, I'm the one standing behind there. This is a dry season observation. That was around December last year or January. The students were out to do some training and do some setting of the equipment and know exactly, because most of them, some of them were not, their background, some from physics, some from mathematics. So they were not used to the conventional way we surveyors used to set equipment and make observations. So we have to give them that kind of training. Then we also now, this is the same location for wet season, just the same year. You can see how dynamic the environment is using the same high target. This is one of the training laboratory. These computers, we are facing them out. We are bringing in the 3-in-1 systems. And this is the our current data processing and storage system that we have, which we want to upgrade by the time we establish the data center, which we are planning to do. Now, currently, we have this equipment. Now, there's a core station located on the campus of Afrigis, established purposely for AFREF. But currently, this core station is not operational because of a firmware issue. This is a Leica GRS 1200 Pro. So this is, of course, if you go to the market now, you see operation this thing, you must call Leica to come to you. So it's part of what we need to find solution to. If we have any other way we can get this equipment to work, I'm thinking we can replace the antenna, the antenna, and then maybe work with another receiver. But that to do a kind of re-engineering. Then we have drones that we are using. Those are our drones. Last 2 weeks, we went on a field project, and the DJ1 Phantom 4 fell down and broke its wing. So we think we are going to replace that. That is another capacity building need that we need. So that's a plane crash. So the one below. So we've used this equipment to do a lot of services and train our students. And okay, I'm going up. Okay, so we have short-term 2 to 6 weeks course training. Specifically, let me mention this on global navigation satellite system and application. So our interest, because Afrigis is meant to train, build capacity for the entire African country. So we want to train them on how to install and manage cores. I remember there was a project myself in Nigeria. I'm speaking just specific in Nigeria. Myself and Dr. Dodo went to a state in Nigeria to, do a satellite campaign, navigation, station control and coordination for them. We have to set up a core station for 30 days to be able to implement. So we said everyone that will go through a geodetic training in Afrigis, we know yes, geodesy is not all about GNSS. We also look at the physical geodesy aspect when the geodesy science program is on board. But for now, we must train all Africans that come to that place on how to install and maintain cores.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. So we have infrastructural capacity development that we are doing or developing ICT. So we have collaborations with Digital Earth Africa, sponsored by Geoscience Australia. We're a member of the Technical Advisory Committee, and then we are also an implementation part, very strong at that IP. And then we also work with Severe West Africa, which because of the USAID that collapsed, we have halted the program for now because they are the main sponsor of the, and we have some existing collaborations, and then we want to escalate them. The list is long, including the UN-GGCE in Bonn. Nick is here. We have to engage, and we are now in collaboration, hoping that things will get better as time goes on. So we are working with so many institutions across Africa, including ITC in the Netherlands. Then we have, let me just mention this, one of the capacity development area that we are looking at is to build our capacity in the area of the AFREF program. In 2016, OSI Ordnance Survey gave some equipment to Africa, and then 20 of them were given to Afrigis. I wasn't there then, but they were brought. 8 of them were shared. That is the equipment. I think I shared the picture somewhere. Okay, these are all GRX 1300 Pro. And as I'm talking to you, these 12 of them are available. They are not installed because of firmware problem. They are Leica product. So finally, let me just mention this. We did this work for the university free of charge. This 121 hectare size of land. We're using drone. And the contour interval we realized after the project was 1.1, I mean 1 meter contour interval. And it was free as to our host. So currently we want to now expand by establishing a data center so that we can enhance training, e-learning across Afrigis and across Africa, and purposely to acquire data, share data, process data with artificial intelligence, machine learning, using the current paradigm and emerging technologies, geospatial information science and technology. All right, this is the system we are setting up for the data center, and these are kind of equipment we are looking for, having a pyranometer, a weather station, all co-located in the same place, so that the students will be properly trained. When they go back to their country, they will now, it's like train the trainer. They go back and deploy what they have been given from Afrigis. So thank you very much. And that is, but I want to make an appeal before I leave. The appeal is this: we want collaboration. I'm glad that I have a lot of our colleagues who are here across Africa that are working in universities, that are experts in geodesy, experts in geospatial. Any area you are, please reach out to me. On the first page of this slide, the email is there, and then the website is there. We can get talking from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great presentation. I'm amazed. I knew a little bit about what was happening within RCMRD and within Afrigis, but there's so much more going on and so much more work being done. It's very impressive. John, thank you. Please come up here and take a seat. John's joined us. We're very happy to have him here. You can all give John a clap before we even start. Because we wouldn't be here without John. We were having difficulties trying to find venues and dates and times to be able to host this event in Africa, and John kindly stepped in and did a wonderful job to help organize this event. So thank you very much for everything you've done. Now just got to pay.
Setting for.
Can I go ahead? Nick,
Sorry?
I said, while you are setting
Yeah,
for
please,
what you're
please,
doing.
please.
Okay, thank you. So I noticed that some of the slides are still not online, especially these regional presentations. Maybe you could help us put them also. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a plan, and like all good plans change. So some of the presentations are slightly changed. We've got all the partner presentations now from all of you, and we'll have these additional ones as well. So by the end of next week or the week after, we'll have all the updated versions will go up on our website, and then we'll send around an email and let you know. Okay? You're welcome. Sorry? We don't have time now. Yeah. Thanks, John.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see very familiar faces after such a long time and engage one-on-one on you to catch up. So I'm pretty excited on the discussions that are taking place, have taken place this week. Mine is a very brief presentation, and it was quite thought-provoking because some of the work that we've done, being that I work with the Global Land Tool Network, and apologies, I didn't introduce myself. I'm a program officer with GLTN Secretariat at UN Habitat. And GLTN has been pushing for tenure security, especially for those groups that have been outside the formal land system. And we've really been champions of responsible or pro-poor land governance. And, you know, geodesy, I think, is one of those topics that we take for granted. And it was quite interesting just to try and put this presentation together and unpack, you know, what is the linkage between geodesy and land governance. So I'll just go through some brief slides on the conceptual side. share some of our country applications on issues related to tenure security, and also some recommendations based on the experience that we've had over the years. Yeah, so when you look at land governance, so this zooms out a bit from perhaps some of the discussions that you've had this week and also what I've had in the last couple of hours. You know, there are various issues, and I think we are all familiar with this. This is nothing new. When you look at issues of some of the laws and frameworks that we've inherited based on the colonial past, issues related to poor governance when it comes to land management, inequalities, especially in gender, these are quite key. And also other issues that are related to land, rapid urbanization, large-based infrastructural development, food security, and the like. And, you know, based on an estimate, we do think that perhaps maybe 10% of rural land is registered, and this varies. In some countries, it may be higher, others, it may be lower. And, you know, this is also reaffirmed by one of the exercises we've been doing on SDG Indicator 142, looking at some of the data that has been submitted by the countries, developing countries, in terms of tenure security, perception of tenure security, but also some of the documents that have been aggregated in terms of the percentages of people who have tenure security. As well, when you look at the role of geodesy and land governance, it's really a chain, and we cannot really disassociate the two. When you talk about positioning systems, then, you know, these are like at the core of our spatial framework. And again, the spatial framework basically is the basis for land information systems, our cadasters, and then these feed again into the broader land administration systems, and how those contribute to the overall management of the land. And ultimately, some of the policies, processes that we have with regard to how land is perceived, how land is used, how land is governed. And what we've seen over the years is that some of the tools support land management. We have cost-effective tools. We have tools that are more participatory. We also have been talking a lot about the spatial data infrastructure, and how this can be able to support some of the thematic areas, for example, within the Global Earth Observation System of Systems, looking at other aspects of land management, agriculture, biodiversity, effects of climate change, displacements, and the like. They contribute, this modern surveying equipment, they contribute to secure land tenure systems. But also we see, for example, cases where accurate information, especially with regard to dispute resolution, is quite key in different contexts when it comes to ownership, but also the boundaries. And ultimately, you know, we can confidently say that geodesy plays a very key role in terms of building and sustaining land management systems when it comes to issues of land valuation, but also overall development of the land. This also brings about the concept of the fit for purpose, where we look at innovative solutions that are practical, that are cost effective, that are scalable. And again, when you look at specifically some of the geodetic solutions that we have in place, they align very well with the principles of fit for purpose, from flexibility, whereby we can have tools that work very well in sparsely populated areas. So, you know, lower accuracy is allowed in such cases, to the high precision tools or high accuracy tools that have traditionally been there. I would say also we've seen the cost of ownership and use of this equipment has really come down. Again, this also links to the flexibility aspects. Also, some of the tools allow community participation. They're easy to use. Even non-technical people can be able to demarcate or identify where their boundaries are. And through all this, then they contribute towards the attainability of some of the objectives that we have within the fit for purpose of providing tenure security, where we have solutions that are affordable, that are easy to use, and some of the solutions can be implemented within a relatively short time. Some of the benefits, and these are very broad, we see that accurate data supports transparency and accountability. And again, this is related to participation by all the key land actors. And this also contributes to improved tenure security by reducing disputes, promoting equitable access to land by different groups, sustainable development. When you look at improved land governance, then again, in the long term, it contributes towards better land use planning and also environmental management. And ultimately, when you look at some of the indicators that are related to land, specifically those ones on poverty, on gender and the like, then definitely we are able to see that these land governance issues are addressed through a wide array of geodetic solutions. Some of the approaches that we've applied in different contexts, from informal settlements, quick mapping with the communities in different countries, customary land in rural areas, whereby we engage, for example, with smallholder farmers, communities that constitute indigenous groups, and again, we train them on using these tools, whether they are technical tools or whether we train them on GIS, remote sensing and the like, in natural resource management, whether it's conservation areas, forest areas, water resources and the like. Very applicable in post-crisis context, perhaps due to displacement as a result of conflict and disaster, where you need quick mapping, or even mapping in areas that are not really accessible through field service. And also within the formal land administration systems, especially for countries that are trying to really build their land administration systems within a relatively short period of time. Moving forward, some of our reflections, and I think this is echoed through the other presentations that I've had. Investing in geospatial infrastructure, I think the cost has really come down. There's an array of solutions that are in place. Promoting these approaches that are context specific, that are relevant, and not always looking at the high-end solutions. Collaboration is quite key across all the different groups of actors, from the beneficiary communities to academic training and research institutions, the professionals and the like. Building capacity, showing that this technical subject matter ultimately contributes towards sustainable land administration and ultimately sustainable development. And also looking at technology, some of the open source tools that are there, and how we can be able to integrate them within the business processes. So to conclude, I think this is a right forum, because we are aware of what the issues are. We have tested some of the solutions. We have ideas of how to integrate them. We've seen, even from the presentations, that there are innovative approaches, concepts, and also the opportunities, whether at a very small scale, but also those small scales, how they can be scaled up. And the rallying call will be, how do we become the change agents? So with that, I'd like to close. Thank you very much, and I welcome any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. A great presentation. You missed out this morning. We had talked about communication, the importance of communication, and they broke up into small groups, and they had to try and get down to 30 seconds to explain to a board member or to their cousin or to their mum, picture, how can I explain what I do in my job and how it helps people? And I think what many of us realize is that there's a link. We need links between Geodesy and the end user. And I think that's really why I wanted you to talk today, to talk about land administration. I think is a very clear and obvious link for geodesists to try and explain the importance of what they do and hopefully get more funding in the future. So I'm sure now that they're such good communicators, you're going to be inundated with proposals for improved infrastructure and land management in Africa. Wouldn't that be nice?
We welcome with the money.
Yeah, with the money. All right. Any questions for John? Thank you.
Thank you, John. Charles from Zimbabwe. I'm just interested in finding out in terms of acceptability of the fit for purpose solutions, say in the greater economy, because traditionally you get banks asking for some kind of title deed. How are you handling those kinds of transactions with the fit for purpose documents that you're creating?
Great question. Thanks for that. It's quite subjective, but what I would say is from the time the concept was introduced more than 10 years ago, there was a lot of resistance, especially from the surveying profession, what this fit for purpose was all about. We've seen tremendous progress from that time. And I think also within the wider surveying community, there's been this push of trying to link this fit for purpose ultimately to sustainable development. And it really means that when you look at the traditional approaches, they have not been working as expected. So we are not saying we get rid of the traditional approaches that have already been put in place, but let's be flexible and a bit innovative. And the innovation is consensus-based, consensus amongst the professionals, amongst the beneficiaries, and even, for example, as you've mentioned, these credit institutions such as the banks. And, this can be evaluated on a case by case. And for example, if the banks do agree that, and they have confidence that this approach of fit for purpose, if we are issuing, for example, interim documents before we issue the title deeds, is it acceptable to them? Is there acceptance, let's say, by the national or the local government, by the communities, and what level of safeguards have been put in place as an interim mechanism? And even perhaps if there's an opportunity in the future to amend the law, then these institutions could accept the interim steps that have been put into place. So it varies. We've seen that in some countries it has actually been implemented, not necessarily by the banks in terms of accepting these documents, but also in terms of using it as a way of recognizing the rights that, for example, a family or a community have on a particular piece of land. And this has reduced, in some cases, forced evictions, for example. But also it has pushed the local governments to make investments on these particular areas because they recognize the community that are there. So it's some kind of perceived tenure security, even though there's no document per se, or there is a document that is not legally recognized. In some cases, even utility bills are accepted as a form of tenure security. So again, it varies from context to context, but we see that there are good examples that we can really put together and showcase them. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for John? Yes, thank you.
En fait,
I'll be speaking in French. It is not a question. It is some information that I'm bringing. In Togo, we undertook this kind of land census in a community, and there was a decree which recognizes this process. And the end of it, it is the cadastre or the title deed that is given, cadastre or an allotment letter, because title deeds take time and they're costly. So they find an intermediary system where they have like an allotment letter, which is shows property ownership. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good example as well. If there's any documentation, we'd be more than happy to have a look at it. Maybe it can be shared to the team here. Thanks.
bonjour, merci. Donc,
Thank you. For Senegal, we started this process to get a systematic approach instead of having people coming up individually, because the cost is exorbitant in Senegal. That's why we came up with a systematic approach. But the hesitance was from the ministry level, which is supposed to be validating the process. And given the quality of the tools they used, the precision was problematic for the integration of these systems at the national level. Did you face such kind of a problem, which we have seen in Senegal today?
Yes, but perhaps at a relatively smaller scale in Uganda, whereby the instrumentation, this was an instrumentation issue. The calibration was not done correctly. So, some of the parcels that were being mapped were really way off. However, being that it was done at a relatively small scale, then it was easy to fix it. But also there are some lessons that were learned from that experience in terms of developing standard guidelines, because what is happening in Uganda is that they've opened up the process, especially on customary land ownership. They allow partners to collect data on behalf of, well, not really on behalf of the government, but if it's data related to customary land, then we have some kind of para-surveyors that capture the data, but also the ministry has a way of reviewing and verifying the data and also integrating it into their national land information system. So as a result of this pilot issues, especially on capturing the data, then the government issued some kind of guidelines on how to do the survey, what even related to the accuracy, the different tools that can be used. So this makes it very flexible in terms of the approach, in terms of partners that can really collect this data, but also making sure that we are able to attain our long-term vision of providing internet security for all using a hybrid of different approaches. So yeah, we take these challenges and issues as lessons, and we iteratively improve the subsequent steps when it comes to this process of scaling up. Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's not even a question, it's a contribution. You see, as it has been identified even in this meeting, that not even the surveyor can understand the science behind locations like the geodesist can. And that's just the same concept with the fit for purpose land administration concept, because it's expected to be incremental. And then in the nearest future, there could be a better system, and then it could be reobserved. And even if it was surveyed with some errors today, when it's been done in the future, then it's well captured. So I wanted to add that. Thank you so much.
It's a nice comment, and if I could interpret it one way, it's almost a challenge to all of you to make sure that you're engaging with your land management communities. They should be your best friends. They're your biggest customer, and the biggest customer of them is people like John and the people in these settlements that need the help. So your link in the chain is to connect better with those land management communities and those surveyors in your country. If you don't have a strong collaboration with them, that's a big thing to do when you get home. So thank you very much. Please welcome, please thank John again, please. Great. Thank you. It's a great way to finish the day. And we've got about 3/4 of a day of a program for you tomorrow as well. So you're not quite finished yet, but thank you for today. I got a lot out of listening to all of your presentations. I think that was fantastic, and it's going to be really useful information for us to be able to share with the community as well. So enjoy your evening, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.